What's up again, everybody? Today we got something fantastic for you. This is a box of the brand new set for Lorcana. It is Rise of the Floodborn. And for those that don't know, I absolutely love this game. I am a huge fan of Lorcana. It is incredibly fun to play, and for me, it hits on so many different levels. Of course, there's obviously the nostalgia of, like old school Disney movies and even new school Disney movies, but it also plays incredibly similarly to one of my favorite card games of all time, and that is Keyforge. There's a lot of connections to Keyforge. There's a lot of very similar play styles and play lines. The overall kind of aspect of the game being a race and having to decide when you're going to commit to playing the board and when you're going to commit to just racing down to the finish feels great. It feels super fun. Couple that with the fact that you can just play this with your friends, with your family, and my kids personally absolutely love this game. And you get a recipe for success in my book. So I thought with this new set coming out, I would go ahead and buy a box and then record it. I got this box from a very cool local game store, and it is one that sponsors this channel, actually. I got it from MinMax Games. MinMax Games is absolutely fantastic. I reached out to them and I said, hey, can I buy a box of the new Lorcana set off of you? And they were like, yes, let's do it. So the set came out, they mailed it on out, and I picked this up because this is actually my first experience opening a full box of this product. Up until this point, I'd only ever bought singles or bought packs to fill out my first set. So I recorded this. Let's go ahead and jump through it. I'm going to talk over it while we open these packs. Unfortunately, I did this live originally, and then the audio did not record for about half of it. So I figured, why not just record after the fact, and I'll give you my thoughts as we go. But this, to me, as we begin the opening with Croquet Mallet, feels so much like the Keyforge, the second set that was released. I think it was Age of Ascension, and the way that set kind of functioned, or basically turned the original game on its head. And that's kind of how this game feels as well. The first set of this game felt like the first chapter is what it's called. Felt very, very unique and fun. By the way, Flynn Rider, I think they actually put the art from the other cards, the other versions of Flynn, on this, which I think is hilarious. So that one right there is in the game in this set, and the first one's in the first set. But to me, the first set of this game felt absolutely fantastic. Probably one of the best first sets I've ever played. I think of best first sets for games, and I think Keyforge had a fantastic first set in my opinion. This has a fantastic first set as well. Flesh and Blood's Welcome to Wraith set was incredible. So to me, this is up there with some of the best first sets of games I've ever played. It was super fun to play. Little John here is a cool looking card. And we get our first legendary. I forgot that we opened a legendary in pack 1. By the way, if you're curious, I do know, obviously, because I just opened this, I do know what we're going to be getting in this box. Yeah, legendary in pack 1. Definitely, I forgot that happened because there were some other things that happened later on that definitely kept me from remembering that one. Nevertheless, Ratigan in the cold foil. That's another thing I like about this game. I love the cold foil kind of treatment. And I love how that's the foiling of choice in this card game. Every foil is a cold foil, and it does have that kind of printing. By the way, this is a puzzle card. My kids love the little puzzle cards, the 4-card puzzle that you can get with it. In fact, my youngest kid, who's 2, likes to take them and just carry them around, walk around with them and kind of just look at them, or he marvels at the fun characters that are on it because he likes Mickey Mouse. And so that's a big drawing selling point for him. Lady Tremaine here as well. Gaston, Gumbo Bot. See, for me, this second set feels like it introduces a lot of really fun twists on the first set decks. Into the uncommons we go. By the way, you can tell on the bottom there, that little book icon's the uncommon, the little pyramid, the golden pyramid or the copper pyramid is rare. And then we have a super rare here. King Louis, the Jungle VIP, is a super rare. Whenever another character is banished, you can remove up to 2 damage from this character, allowing him to sort of heal himself. He's a huge body as a 3/8. And then the foil Grumpy to close out the pack. But the things that you could do and the decks that you created out of that first set felt really close in general in power level. Yes, of course, there's Amber Steel, which of course felt like the best deck for a while there, compared to Ruby Amethyst, which was the control deck. of choice, but for me, like, I actually found a lot of success into those top 2 decks playing something that for me was very like fun and something that I created. So the deck that I picked up first was actually like the deck I first committed to was what was it? Sapphire Emerald. So it was Emerald Sapphire, and it was the sort of full aggro deck where you're playing to like 5 ink, and like once you hit 5 ink, you don't ink anymore, and you just play out your hand because everything is like pure aggro. Just quest for 2, quest for 3, go go go. Make your opponent answer you. And I found after time that that deck really stalls out if your opponent has some removal tools. It could still get you like the win more often than not, but in like really very technical matchups against like Amber Steel and against Ruby Amethyst, it really stalled out at the end. Basil on the foil side of things here. And so what I did was I pivoted over to Amber Emerald, and I started running more of the Bodyguard package, because the goal then became, okay, I want to play the same amount of speed of getting to 20 before my opponent can really set up. I want to get to 20 in like 6 turns. But if my opponent has one of those nuts starts where they like hit like the shifted tank on turn like 4 or whatever it is, then I want to be able to have the ability to stay in the game past them blowing out my initial board, which sometimes is what made the Emerald Sapphire deck kind of fall off if you just couldn't stick the board after a certain point. And so I pivoted to the Bodyguard package, and it works wonders in that first set. So I'm really curious to see how our second set here affects that. Bucky, by the way, that's a card I have my eye on, simply because if you can stack into Floodborns, you could force a lot of discard, which could be interesting. Like I said, I've seen all the cards from this set. I looked at them on the app with the Pinocchio, the 3 questing Pinocchio, uninkable, but a beautiful 3 questing 1/1 on the 2-drop. I'm curious to see how this set kind of changes the deck that I fell in love with in Amber Emerald, and also kind of spins, new decks out there, because this set really features a lot of new kind of deck building possibilities and new mechanics as well. Like, for example, it introduces all of these like synergies that you see with like the 7 Dwarves. Popsicle, that card is popping off right now, pun intended. Just being able to banish it, remove 2 damage from chosen character, but when you play it, you get the benefit there as well. And Painting the Roses Red. Beast, low-key, one of the best arts in the set. Can we just talk about how cool that art is? Like, that's one of the best arts in the set. Has to be, hands down. Bucky coming back around. We've got, everyone's like kind of annoyed with this card, but it's there. Shere Khan, that has some cool combos as well. And then Pete in the foil. Look how poppin' that foil is. And one of the, I think the biggest downsides to the game right now, and one of the things that I think is really holding it back more than anything, is just the fact that you can't really get your hands on product reliably. Like, I feel very lucky to have gotten this box. I purchased this box. I have one more box at a local game store that I'm going to pick up maybe tomorrow, maybe today, and just kind of run with. I'm going to buy that box, maybe do a box opening on that one. So if you want to see more box openings of this, let me know in a comment below. But outside of those, it can be tricky to get your hands on this product. And of course, if you know anything about the first set, it was unfortunately and sort of predictably insanely scalped, because the product print run just did not meet the insane demand of what people wanted. And look, we got a super rare here. You can see the super rare rarity there at the bottom center with that diamond in that filigree, sort of like kind of steel filigree pattern. 6-drop, and then the old foil Merlin goat. It's just a goat. Sometimes you just got to be a goat, I guess. But yeah, the downside is the lack of available product. So here's my thinking with Lorcana, and this is kind of where I stand on the game right now. I personally love the game, and I think if they can solve the clear and blatant problems with product availability, just being able to get product into LGSs. If they solve that by set 3, crossing fingers, within the first few months of 2024, this game will pop off in 2024. It will absolutely pop off. If they do not solve that problem, then I'm worried about how reception will be by set 4, and how LGSs will kind of approach it by set 4. If it's making LGSs money, I see them keeping it around. That's a huge deal. By the way, this card, That's going straight into that deck that I was talking about, Amber Emerald. We're going to try that out. It's one of the 5-drop 3/3s, and it's evasive, which is even better. So it kind of replaces like what you could do if you're playing the Sapphire version. You would play like the 3/6 Maleficent. But if you're not playing Sapphire, then you're playing Amber. Then I swapped in Moana. And we have another super rare. There's a symbol. This one's really good as well because if you tap it, you can choose and discard a character card and gain lore equal to that. So you can have your like 5-drop 3-quester and you can just get rid of it at tempo plays and use that basically as a 3-lore quester. So it's variable questing. Unfortunately, that doesn't give you the ability to ink it because it's an uninkable card. But yeah, it's a pretty cool effect and a pretty cool card that is worth messing around with. Fairy Godmother, Pure of Heart, beautiful little art. I think this set has better art than the first set. Sound off in a comment below. Do you think this set has better art than the first set? Like for me personally, like I loved seeing like The Great Mouse Detective again. I watched that movie like every Thursday. That was like almost an every week kind of a movie as a kid. I forgot that movie existed. And it's cool to see it kind of come back. And this card's insane. Cinderella was one of the most exciting, like, kind of paired. Like, this card, of course, is just kind of very similar to stuff we've already had in the first set. But you take this and you combine it with that Shift Cinderella that you could find in the set, and things get out of hand quickly. Donald Duck, and a beautiful Mulan. This Mulan is one of my favorite arts in the game as well. Like, see, this to me, it's one of the best arts in the set, and I think the set is just full of great art. Sound off in a comment below. Does this set have better art? Oh, and we got a foil Mufasa. This is the foil Mufasa. Mufasa is a cool card because it allows you to basically look at the top card of the deck when he gets banished and play it for free if it's a character card, and it comes in exerted. But basically, he replaces himself, and if he dies, then and hits that trigger, then you get basically just another character for free, which is great. Especially if you're playing more aggressively, but he does cost a lot. He's a 6, and he has to trade off to use his effect. Nevertheless, that is a beautiful foil. I actually don't know the distribution of legendaries in the set. Is it that you get, if you open a box, do you get 3 legendaries? Do you get 2? Is it 4? I don't know what the number is. This, like I said, is my first box of Lorcana I ever opened. Up to this point in the first set, I literally just bought singles from my local game store. And random packs. And I traded. Shocking that you can actually trade. Can you believe that you can actually trade in the current climate of trading card games? So I traded and I picked up singles and I built decks based on, packs that I opened. And there's another super rare, Selfless Protector. Beautiful blue fairy. Like, look at that. How do you argue that that is not just a fantastic piece of art, especially with the cold foiling? But set 1 was basically complete. I actually have it behind me in a binder and have all the cards from set 1 except maybe like an Ursula or 2. And unfortunately, the card that I do need to actually go spring for and buy are like 2 or 3 more copies of Rapunzel. I think I have 1 or 2 copies of Rapunzel that I traded for. And I just didn't pull the trigger on purchasing more Rapunzels, but I do actually need those Rapunzels, especially now because there's a couple of good Shift Rapunzels in this and other Rapunzels in this set that you can kind of use in concert with that Rapunzel, which is kind of cool and kind of nice. Pete the Bad Guy, and let me know this. I'm curious because I do feel as though I can actually access product a little bit more than I could with the first set here on this set. Let me know in a comment below how it is in your area, because I know anecdotally I see slight bit more product here in my local area versus probably where you are. But let me know, do you see product more readily? From what I've heard, it's the same amount that stores basically got for the first set. It doesn't seem like it's being nearly as scalped, which is good. It means the scalpers are moving away and just trying to go figure something else out. But let me know in a comment below, anecdotally, are you seeing more product more easily available for this set? Look at that beautiful Rapunzel. Super good. Shift 3, you can shift it on top of the 4-cost Rapunzel if you want, or the cheap Rapunzel in this set, Hercules. Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo is a crazy card. That card can do some weird stuff. But me personally, I'm seeing more product available. My local game store, the one that I picked up lots of packs from, like single packs, they had this really good setup where I know a lot of stores are basically just doing markups. So they're trying to mark it up so that, like scalpers don't just go and buy out their store. But my local store, they offered everything at MSRP, but they put a limit on how much you could buy per week. And so what that meant is that scalpers couldn't come in and just wipe the store out and then try to resell it. And it allowed for people like me and my family and other people in the area, other locals, to be able to come in and pick up a pack or two here and there and build up a collection, albeit more slowly and more kind of steadily, build up a collection organically. And that meant that people, like the store itself, had more product on hand over the long term, and people that actually wanted it to play the game could actually go out and buy product to some degree. It wasn't obviously perfect. Hey, we finally find Madam Mim. A large amount of this set is actually dedicated to Madam Mim. Dude, this card, I want to see this card in cold foil. Peter Pan's Shadow. This card is featured in cold foil on the app. There's an official app on your phone. You can go download the official Lorcana app, and they have the cards being able to be viewed in non-foil and foil. But I don't think it does it justice. I want to see what this really looks like in person, because this card is beautiful. That art is fantastic, and I can't imagine what the cold foiling looks like. So if you have that card, by the way, share it with me on Twitter. If you have the cold foil of that card, I want to see it on Twitter. Like, just tag me in it or something. Armada_DM. If you have that card in foil, that is like deep down, that's like a chase card for me personally. I absolutely want to see it. So we have 2 legendaries this far. We've got a couple of great super rares, in my opinion. Digging in with Minnie Mouse. We've got Minnie Mouse there. Hypnotize, a cool looking card. The Knock. I don't know how you pronounce that. Is it actually just pronounced The Knock? We've got Snow White Lost in the Forest. The old low drop Snow White. 4 Dozen Eggs, which is a pretty solid card. There's another Snow White. Unexpected House Guest. Uninkable, though. You got to keep that in mind. Beautiful Blue Fairy. Fixing in Pinocchio. And Cinderella. This card probably also looks incredible in foil as well. And we hit another legendary. Fairy Godmother Mystic Armorer. A 5-drop. So you can shift 2 on this, which is super interesting because it's a 5-drop. But I think the other Fairy Godmother, if I remember correctly, is also a 5-drop. And I think there's one that's a 3. But either way, you can shift 2 on top of one of the previous Fairy Godmothers to get this in play. And when you quest with this, your characters gain Challenger 3, and they bounce back to your hand, which is a really interesting design. And then you got I'm Stuck as well, which is super fun. I think at this point, we've actually collected all of those, all of the different sides of the puzzle cards as well, which I got to give to my kids. I've got the full stack of them, and I can just give those over to my kids so that they can make the puzzle themselves. And they have like a little binder. I gave them a little binder to put some of their cards in, and so they have it like set up in the binder. Gumbo Pot, you got Donald Duck, the most diabolical scheme. Jafar in the uncommon slot. This is a beautiful artwork of Belle. Winnie the Pooh at rare. World's Greatest Criminal Mind is another song. You get to banish a chosen character with 5 attack or more. Magic Broom. And I think you can do the trick with Challenger. Can't you? You can give the +3 to your opponent. So like if you challenge with like a 3, like a Challenger 3 or something like, oh no, I'm thinking of a support, never mind. But you could do the support thing with that setup as well, I think. If memory serves correctly, you do some tricks to make that card more accessible. Snow White, Winnie the Pooh. Like for me, I'm looking forward to building the decks that this sort of enables. I really want to see the stuff that this set enables and just mess around with it. Trying to lean into Floodborn, seeing how far into Floodborn you really have to go for value, if it even provides value. Because again, this is the set called Rise of the Floodborn, and there are a decent number of Floodborn characters in this set. And so it's definitely worth kind of diving into and seeing how synergistic it is with the actual Floodborn characters. But to me, I actually feel like there's a lot more just really good synergistic. Oh, I love this card. Cogsworth. I think this is a great kind of Floodborn character to really emphasize what you can do with this like Floodborn sort of subtype. Because the idea is that like, here's an alternate version of that character. And so like, this is the old man Cogsworth that never transformed. Another beautiful foil Cinderella. Oh, that's good looking. Look at that. That looks cool. Yeah, but like leaning into the Floodborn thing. How far do you have to go? I feel like this set particularly, even though it's called Rise of the Floodborn, has a lot of synergies outside of the old Floodborn, just Floodborn stuff. And you can really build decks for like discard. You can build decks for like bouncing. There's a variety of ways that you can kind of take decks with this card pool. And I'm really interested to see it. And I want to see what this game does from the sort of mid-level to high-level tournament play, because I think it's a great casual game. I picked up the starter decks from my local game store a couple of nights ago. I bought both of them because I know my kids just love to go and pick them up and play them. Like, I sleeve them up and I leave them sitting out so my kids have something to do. And so I picked up the starter decks, but I think as far as like mid to high level tournament play, I feel like this would be a fun game to watch. And there are channels out there that are doing consistent tournament coverage. Like, they're running like these small scale tournaments. And I feel like it's worth like watching. If you haven't seen it, you should go onto YouTube, look up like Lorcana tournaments and watch the game play out, because it's a really fun game to play. And I think it's going to do well in tournament play when that is established. But we'll see how they kind of manage that. By the way, Arthur here allows you to do some bouncing. It returns a chosen character to gain 2 lore. And again, the goal here is to like tap your characters, make them go questing and gain the lore, and try to get to 20 first. And that is a cool way to do it. And going the distance. Does Lorcana go the distance? And again, in my mind, it comes down to how LGSs get their hands on products going forward. Because I think the big box store, get them at Target, get them at Walmart, is sort of just like a half measure. I don't think it's going to be the driving force of this game. This game could go the way of Pokemon. It could be just a collectible first and a game second. But, and you know, that's not a bad thing, because Pokemon like really commits to their card game tournaments still. By the way, Nick Wilde, this card is really good with that popsicle. But I think if this is a local game store seeded product, if it's a game that people play in the local game store, it will be even better served for it. And so I want to see how this game solves its supply issue, and if LGSs, you know, stick with it to support the game. And ooh, a foil super rare Dr. Facilier, which is very cool. At the old 7-drop, very expensive, but it basically is the same as what's the guy in Emerald, the 3-cost 2/4. That when he quests, you pick a character they don't quest. God, I forgot that guy's name. It's from 101 Dalmatians. He's one of the 2 henchmen. Someone tell me in a comment below. I cannot for the life of me think of that guy's name. Crap, what is that guy's name? Anyway, someone will tell me in the comment below. I trust you implicitly to tell me the right answer. But that's a cool foil. I think this game, if it picks up in the LGS, will absolutely spike in 2024. If it does not, then it'll be interesting to see where it goes, because there's certainly the backing for this game to continue long term. I mean, look at Ravensburger, or is it Ravensburger? Look at Ravensburger. I'm going to go with Ravensburger, and how they've supported, you know, like Villainous and just the overall IP usage, and compare that to what they could do here with a game that is clearly after, you know, that same sort of like audience. Oh, and we hit Namari here. Namari, I heard this is a hard to open card, but allows you to challenge ready characters. Uninkable. Every time I see an uninkable card, I kind of turn my head at it, though. Uninkable cards are dangerous in deck. The question is, how far can you go down the uninkable path before you get absolutely burned by the ratios in the deck? And I always am a little bit kind of put off when there is an uninkable card, and you have to really justify its existence in the deck before you run with it. And that is part of the reason why that Amber Emerald deck that I full committed to, that race deck, is so much fun to play, because it does run a decent number of uninkables. A beautiful Rapunzel. Absolutely fantastic Rapunzel. Let the storm rage on. I want to see where this game goes, and I am full committed to it. I think it's really fantastic. I want to put more content out on the game. Oh, Cinderella. Beautiful Cinderella. In fact, wait, that actually took the rare slot. Oh, because we have a Basil right behind it. I forgot this existed too. Does this happen normally? Like, is this a normal thing that occurs where a rare can drop out and you can get double supers in a pack? I personally very much like it when distribution happens like that because it makes everything a little bit more, interesting. But that Cinderella is one of my favorite cards from the set. One of the first cards they spoiled, and I was super hyped for it. And that beautiful 5-drop 5/3 Tiana that goes perfectly in that like tempo-based Amber Emerald deck. Man, we've hit some good cards in this box. This is a good box. We have what, 3? No, we have 4 legendaries. I'm looking at the thing after the fact. We got 4 legendaries in this box. Didn't find, or haven't to this point found the what do they call those? Enchanteds. The enchanted Minnie Mouse here. Got Lady Tremaine in the super rare slot. I, up till this point, have, oh, look at that Sword in the Stone. Beautiful little card there. Up to this point, like I said, I never opened a box of this product, and this was a fun experience. And I'm going to pick up another box because I have one set aside for me. I'm going to buy that second box. I'm going to open it as well, and we'll see. We can compare like one box to the other and see how distribution kind of plays out. And I guess particularly with this second set, because I didn't do it with the first set, but it's definitely worth checking out and trying out. There's a Flynn Rider rare, which is super cool. And there she is. There's the Snow White that is the Enchanted. It's a funny story. In the original recording, I legit said, and I want to see one of these Enchanted rares because I'd never held one. And the same pack that I said that on, this happened. Crap. Oh, and I did the whole thing I did with the stupid mic muted. So I have to record the entire... Oh my god, you hate to see it. I don't know when I muted that mic, but holy crap. You absolutely love to see it. Oh man, that is awesome. This box is crazy good. What a box, man. Got the Tuk Tuk. Another Raya super rare. We've got Raya, the Floodborn super rare. Leader of Heart. Foil Dock. Jeez, man, this box was insane. Oh, incredible. When you find the box, man, you find the box. I was glad that I got my hands on a single box for this set. And here we are, cracking it open. Grand Duke, Advisor to the King. It's pretty good. Oh my god. Are you kidding me? 4 legendaries? Is this normal? Like, I don't know. This is my first box of the game. Is this normal? Does this normally happen like this? Insane. All right, final pack. Let's close it out. Dr. Facilier, Fidget, got Panic, James, the Queen, Hercules, Hero in Training, Card Soldiers. Put that stack in the wrong one. I'm too flustered at this point. Lumiere, beautiful art, by the way, on Lumiere. Strength of a Raging Fire, and closing it out in the foil, Miss Judson foil. Well, that was a box. Out of all the things that we could have opened, we opened some good ones. We've got Snow White. We've got Scar. We've got a foil Mufasa. Fairy Godmother. Namari. And the casual Snow White. What a box. Oh my god. Jeez. Well, you know, when you find a box, opening it feels pretty good if you land that. So if you enjoyed this video, let me know in a comment below, and as always, everybody, thanks for watching.